Welcome to Cultural Dishcovery. I am Shelina Elyse, your host. We are exploring cultures through food and building confidence in the kitchen. And today we are making something that could be seemingly very scary and intimidating, a creme brulee. Now, if you don't know, a creme brulee has mostly ingredients that you would probably find in your house already. Eggs, vanilla, sugar, a little bit of salt, and oh, did I say vanilla? Oh, cream. Cream is the other one that I was forgetting. Heavy cream to be exact. So if you are looking for a dessert to impress, we are going to learn the creme brulee today. So let's go ahead and start. We are going to be starting off at the stove. Okay. So we have a small to medium sized saucepan here, and we're going to put this on a lower heat. So this recipe is going to make 4 creme brulees for you, but I have measurements for 2. So you'll see 2 at the end here, but I'm going to give you the measurements for 4. If you want to half size those, you can, but the more the merrier when it comes to the creme brulee. All right, so this is going to be our heavy cream. We're going to go ahead and put this into the pot. That is 1 2/3 cups, or 1 2/3 cups. That'll go in here. Excellent. We also have sugar. It's going to be 1/3 cup of sugar that goes into your mixture. And I also went ahead and put the salt in here. This is going to be 1/4 teaspoon of salt that goes in there for you. And we're going to whisk that in. And the reason why we want this to get warm very slowly is that way so it doesn't curdle the cream. If it comes up too fast, you'll get that curdling and like a skin on top, and ugh. Okay, so that's mixed in there a little bit. And then I have vanilla extract that we're going to be using today. And this is going to be 1 teaspoon. Oh, that was a little bit more, but that's fine. It'll just be extra vanilla. So that would be 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Now, if you're being fancy and you want to try to elevate your creme brulee, you can also use a vanilla pod, which is what vanilla is derived from. It looks like a long, skinny bean, the vanilla bean. And what you would do with that, you can find it in most grocery stores. It'll be on the side with like the more expensive spices, but they'll come as a bean. You would put it down on the cutting board and kind of take a slit for the bean, open, and then scrape out the innards of the bean pod, and then you would put that into this mixture, and then along with the pod as well, because that will have a lot of flavor. It will give you a more robust vanilla flavor, a little bit more earthy. And something else that is nice about using vanilla bean paste, or the innards of a vanilla bean pod, is will speckle, the little seeds of vanilla will speckle your creme brulee, and then that's how you know that it's fancy. But if you're just looking for the taste of vanilla, this will do it just as well. Excellent. And then of course we'll put the salt was mixed in with the sugar, just a little bit of salt, so it actually counterbalances or like enhances the sweetness that you use. So there's a lot of different ways to do creme brulee. I have seen, and in my little bit of testing that I've done, adding the sugar at this part, or to the creamy part of the base, ensures that we're dissolving the sugar, and that also it's not going to be grainy in the end once you finish the creme brulee. And we're using heavy cream to make it extra decadent. You can use regular milk, and if that's what you have on hand, definitely do that. But if you are getting ingredients, I would recommend the heavy cream, just again to make it creamier. Okay, it's been about 5 minutes or so, and I'm feeling pretty confident that this is where it needs to be. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this off of the heat and let this hang out And while we let it hang out, we're going to separate the eggs. So that's going to be the egg part of our custard. Let's separate some eggs for our egg part of the custard. I've got 2 eggs here, and I am going to save these egg whites for breakfast burritos later. Don't be jealous. So I'm going to separate them over the container that I'm going to save the egg whites in, because we'll put the yolks into the bowl that we will use to temper the eggs with the cream mixture. And if you don't recall how to separate eggs, it's kind of just passing the yolk between the 2 halves of the eggshell and trying to get as much of the egg white off of the yolk itself. Okay, that looks pretty good. Oh. Perfect, we'll put that in there. This aside. Ooh. And if you open it carefully, you can see it kind of does most of the work itself. And when you make irregular shaped egg shells, when you crack it open the way I do, that is also helpful too. Oh. Looks like we might lose a little bit. Be careful with that there. Okay, there we go. Okay. Excellent, and then we'll go ahead, put this to the side. All right, so now we are just going to literally whisk these eggs together and get them smooth. And this bowl has a tendency to move around on me, so I've got a little pad underneath it. Excellent. Just gets really beautiful mixed all together. Nice. Okay, so now the egg yolks are incorporated. You have been quick enough to do this that I'm going to leave the creamy part to cool just a hair bit more, and then we'll come back and we will temper the eggs. All right, so tempering the eggs just means that we're going to bring it up to temperature with the creme anglaise, because if we dump all of this warm to hot liquid into the eggs, probably going to make scrambled eggs, and that's not what we want to do with our custard. So we've got our egg yolks pretty smooth, and so I am just going to put in a little bit of this liquid. This is probably the scariest part of this recipe. So go as slowly as you would like. And you just want to constantly whisk this as you put this in here. Again, that'll help distribute the heat amongst the, from the liquid coming out of the pan to now this creamy mix that is in the bowl. Perfect. Put a little bit more. Like I said, take all the time that you need. While we are mixing this in, I did forget to share. So the oven is going to be at 325 degrees preheated. Back there, I'll show you I have a baking dish and ramekins. So if you're doing all 4 creme brulee at the same time, you'll probably want like a 9x5. Or a similar dish size to that. One that can hold all of the ramekins, the 4 total ramekins, at the same time. And where you can also put in water to help bake it. So this is the same concept if you watch the souffle episode, where we are going to make a bain marie, which is the baking dish with the other smaller baking dishes, the same ramekins, in fact, as what was in souffle, putting in hot tap water to help it bake evenly in the oven. Okay. All right, I'm feeling more confident about the rest of this in here. Lovely. There we are. Beautiful creme anglaise texture. Love it. So now that we feel it's all very well incorporated, let's go ahead and set this up in what we're baking it in. So this is the baking dish with the ramekins inside. What we're going to do is we will split this evenly into however many ramekins that you have. Oh, and like I said, I am demonstrating for 2 creme brulee. But if you are making all 4 for the recipe, you're going to have 4 eggs instead of 2. So you'll have 4 egg yolks that you would make to then temper with this liquid. Okay. And I got this a little uneven, so we're just going to even it out. Okay, very carefully. A little bit more. Oh, 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 oh. Okay, that looks even. Just gonna sneak over here, get a paper towel, and then just wipe this off. So that way it doesn't bake on the side of the ramekin. Okay, excellent. Okay, now we're going to get some hot tap water to make the bain marie. Okay, so I put the hot tap water in this kettle because it's just easier to move and pour into here. So like in the souffle episode, let me show you the easier way that I find to make the bain marie. Bain marie. So we're gonna open the oven, bring this out a little bit. I'm gonna put these down. Oh, I'm gonna do like this, and I will show you why. So I want this little corner available so then I can put the water over here. And then we're gonna fill these 2/3 of the way up for these. Just gonna check that. Oh, that looks great. Okay. Perfect. Put these in here. Good night. Nice. So those are going to be in there for about 40 minutes or so. What you'll want to do, if you have a thermometer, if you want to get a thermometer, it's going to be between 170 to 175 degrees. It'll be just a hair jiggly when you jiggle the pan, but you want to double check that the custards are at that temperature, because once eggs start getting to around 180 degrees, that's when it starts tasting like the eggs. So if you want to keep it custard tasting, if you're not going for like an eggnog situation, then you'll want to keep that at 100 to 175. But again, the first way to eyeball these is just there's a hair of a jiggle. And then if you want to take the temperature of that, that is highly recommended. But we'll see you when they're done. So I have to be honest with you, this is actually the other half of the 4 creme brulee batch. So that's why I wanted to share with you that I was making 4 of them, 2 of which I have experimented on because I wasn't all that confident, which that's what we're trying to build here, is confidence in the kitchen. So these are my 2 remaining creme brulee. So let my mistakes be a lesson learned to me a second time around, and to you, hopefully your first time and all the other times around. Let's get this brulee started. All right, so we have our beautiful creme brulee, very smooth, very gorgeous. So we are going to take some sugar, granulated sugar. And what I learned the first time around was that I did not necessarily sprinkle it on and get it evenly around the top. And I had just a little too much sugar. So I'm going to do this here. Just shake that around. Okay, and I want to make sure that I'm coating all of the top of the creme brulee and that I have an even layer of sugar across the top. And I think that looks pretty even. I'm gonna, oh. There we go. That looks decent. And I see that I got some of it on the sides of the ramekin. That'll probably brulee, because we won't say burn first, just because it is a thin layer. It doesn't have anything to hug onto. Okay, so I'm just going to even this out. And I feel like I could just get a little bit more sugar on both of these. I'm measuring this with, what is this, a 1 teaspoon. So just do a little bit more. And I'm putting this more on the outside because it looks like I pretty much covered the middle there. Okay, perfect. So what you can do, you can have the brulee a couple of different ways. I just pulled these out of the fridge, and we're gonna go immediately and brulee the top of them. So essentially it's gonna be a little cooler inside the actual custard of the creme brulee. Or if you wanted, what you could do is you could warm these up before you brulee and torch them, which that method is, like I said, better a little as a torch. Okay, so these are going to come out warm. What I've done is I have preheated the broil feature of the oven to 500 degrees. Before that came up to temperature, I moved the oven rack from the middle to the very tippy-tappy of the oven. So it's going to like kiss the coil of the broil. Another thing that I learned is that for this oven, probably a lot of other ovens, the coils kind of don't really have one in the middle the way these are shaped. So if I want to get an even brulee on these, I need to pick one side of the oven or the other to make sure that these are getting a similar temperature at the same time. And then we're going to hawk eye and make sure that these don't burn to where they're not brulee. It does become burned. Okay, perfect. Get my little mittens, because even though this isn't hot, we're going to be putting it into hot things. So we'll open it up, and I am going to have it here on this side. I feel like I have a better vantage point and see the coil. It's not really one in the center, it's off to the side. So I'm going to do that here, and then you can go ahead and close this a little bit, but you do want to keep it open. So there is a little bit of circulation that's happening in here. And then now we wait. Let me put an oven light on and see if this helps. Okay. What you're going to do is you're going to wait to see that this just basically caramelizes. It's going to get so hot. It's going to create a beautiful crust on the top. What is that? I think they said they're ready. This makes me think of trying to learn a next cooking level on The Sims because I love The Sims. And then almost setting your house on fire. But I didn't. All right. We're going to take these out very carefully. Put these over here to cool. And then you'll let these set for a few minutes because it will get that hard, crusty, characteristic caramel on top. We've given these beautiful creme brulee angel babies some time to rest. Not too much time because I am ready to dive in. But if you happen to use a torch for yours, you can probably let them set for about 1 to 2 minutes because you haven't had so much heat surrounding the creme brulee. But we had ours in the broil, so we left ours probably for about 5 minutes or so. If you have never had a creme brulee, I'm so excited for you. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for hopefully attempting to make this. But now we are at the part that makes this the brulee. All of your hard work, all of my second attempt has hopefully rewarded me in the riches of the whack and the crack. What you're going to do is you're going to take your spoon, you're going to whack into this caramelized thin layer of sugar, and that is going to be magic, hopefully. Let's see. Oh, let's see. Oh. And then you have tiny shards of delicious caramelized sugar and beautiful custardiness. Oh my gosh. I am very impressed with myself. If you want to give this a go, I highly recommend doing a test and then having a beautiful second option. And if you do it well on the first go around, congratulations to you. More of us want to strive to be you. Okay, let's see what this tastes like. Oh my gosh. That is silky. That is creamy. It's crunchy. Wow. That was definitely worth the effort of going through the anxiety of trying to make this creme brulee top. If you like a thicker shell on top, you could definitely put a little bit more sugar. Again, just make sure that it's even all the way around on top. Otherwise, you'll probably just have this puddle of caramelized sugar while everything else is burned on the outside, which this is a photo of my first mess. So just to remind you that you can try new things, you can be scared, you can have lots of anxiety, but don't let it stop you from doing what you want to do, because I knew I was going to get here at some point. You just have to trust yourself. That is a delicious reward. I love that. And the first one wasn't disgusting. It was just ugly. So excellent. Thank you so much for joining me for Cultural Discovery to make creme brulee. I hope that you try this recipe, that you share it with some friends, or eat all of them yourselves. Whatever you feel like doing. Thank you so much. Bye.